to our channel. This is Science Lectures 256. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on our social media handles. That is on X at 25 Science Lectures 256 and on WhatsApp at Science Lectures 256. So we are still continuing the structures on the head. So today we are going to look at the antennae. And the antennae is also known as the nose of the insect. Why? It has various cells, especially at the tips, that are sensitive to the various changes. It can smell food, it can sense food. That is why it is called the nose of the insect. And that's something that is analogous to your nose. And before we venture into the various types of antennae, we need to know the gross morphology of an antennae. How does it? What are the typical characteristics of an antennae? So an antennae is made up of three major segments. So the first segment is called a scape. The second segment is called a pedicel, and successive segments are called flagellum. However, each flagellum is made up of small segments called flagellomeres. So that is the gross structure of any antenna. That is what a general antenna would look like. However, the antenna, just as we saw the various types of eyes, the antenna also has different modifications to suit the various habitats, to suit the various ecological niches in which the insects live. And we are going to look at some of those. Number one, we are going to look at what they call cetaceous antennae. So cetaceous antennae are the ones where you have at the base they are large, but as they go on moving anteriorly, the size of the segment goes on decreasing. Where the size of the segment goes on decreasing from the base to the apex. And cetaceous antennae are very common in dragonflies. And dragonflies, as you know, are members of the order Odonata. Next, I want us to look at what they call monoliform antennae. So this down here are the monoliform antennae. So monoliform antennae are the ones that are spherical. They are spherical and have prominent constrictions. So from one segment to another, you can easily tell. Those are what you call monoliform antennae. They are spherical and have prominent constrictions. And they are very common in termites. Next, I want us to look at what they call serrate antennae. So serrate antennae are where is a type of antennae where the segments are triangular, and they appear like the teeth of a saw. So as you know, a saw, the one they use for cutting wood. So that is how these serrate antennae would appear. Or they are also sometimes called saw-like antennae. And they are very common in the click beetles. Next, I want us to look at what they call geniculate antennae. So geniculate antennae, these ones have a long scape. I will say the scape is the first segment of the antennae. So this is our scape. They have a long scape. However, the successive segments are small. They are small and bent at an angle. The successive segments are small and bent at an angle. making it appear like the elbow. You can see, so I can try to use my elbow as an illustration. This is the escape, and the successive segments are bent at an angle, but these segments are also small. So nucleate antennae are very common in honeybees. They are very common not only actually in honeybees, but in bees and the weevils. The weevils. However, also some ants have been found to have such type of antennae. Next, I want us to look at what they call filiform antennae. Filiform antennae. Filiform antennae. So the filiform antennae are cylindrical. They are cylindrical, and the segments are of equal size. Segments are of equal size. So filiform antennae are the most common type of antennae we find in insects such as the cockroaches, insects like the grassy hoppers. The grassy hoppers. Next, I want us to look at the calvate or club-shaped antennae. Calvate or club-shaped antennae. So, you know what a club looks like, eh? Something that looks like this. Something that looks like that. So, this type of antennae, the anterior segments go on increasing in size. Anterior segments go on increasing in size. Go on increasing in size. Increasing in size. Increasing in size. Making it look like a club, giving the antennae the appearance of a club. And a club is used to play a certain game. So it is large at the apex and small at the base, and that is how the calvate or club-shaped antennae look like, and they are very common in what they call the ladybird beetles. The ladybird beetles. The ladybird beetles. Another type of antennae is what we call the stylet antennae. The stylet antennae. The stylet antennae. So the stylet antennae is where we have the anterior segments modified from a style-like structure. A style-like structure. A style-like structure. A style-like structure. And these are very common in the horsey flies. The horsey flies. The horsey flies. And I hope you observe that it wants to look analogous like the leg of a horse. And now you see where the fly derives its name. Next, I want us to look at flabellate antennae. Flabellate antennae. Flabellate antennae. Flabellate antennae. So flabellate antennae are the ones from the third segment. The third segments are modified to form long processes, like the hand, like the fingers of a fan, like the fingers of a fan, the fingers of a fan. So in the past, there were no these electric fans. People used to have fans that were just for moving around the body. You flap it over your body so that it could generate air currents that could cool the body temperature. So flabellate antennae want to look like those ancient fans, and they are very common in the cedar beetles. The cedar beetles. The flabellate antennae are very common in the cedar beetles. Next, I want us to look at what they call capitate antennae. Capitate antennae. Capitate antennae. Capitate antennae. Capitate antennae. So we've seen club-shaped antennae, and we say that as you move from one segment to another, you have the size goes on increasing. But in capitate antennae, the last segments or the anterior segments, are enlarged. The anterior segments are enlarged. Giving the antennae the shape of appearance like a knob. For those of you who know how to drive cars, the knob that you pull to change gears. So this is how these antennae look like, and they are very common in what they call the sap beetles. The sap beetles. The sap beetles. toes. Next, I want us to look at what they call aristate antennae. Aristate antennae. Aristate antennae. Aristate antennae. So aristate antennae is where you have the anterior segments enlarged. The anterior segments are enlarged. The anterior segments are enlarged. Anterior segments are enlarged, but subtended by bristles or surrounded by bristles. They're surrounded by bristles. So this is my arista. The segments are enlarged to form what we call arista. Arista on the side you have what they call bristles. Bristles. So next I want us to look at what they call lamellate antennae. Lamellate antennae. Lamellate antennae. Lamellate antennae. So lamellate antennae are the type of antennae where the anterior segments, the anterior segments are enlarged. They are enlarged. The anterior segments are enlarged to form flat plates. Enlarged to form flat plates. They are enlarged to form flat plates. As you can see here, these ones are the flat plates I'm talking about. Enlarged to form flat plates. And they are very common in what they call the scrub beetle. The scrub beetle. The scrub beetles. And next, I want us to look at what they call pulmos antennae. Pulmos antennae. So these here are what you call the pulmos antennae. The pulmos antennae. Pulmos antennae. So the pulmos antennae are where the length of the antennae is subtended also or has a mass of hair. Mass of hair. And these are very common in mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. Lastly, I want us to look at what they call pectinate antennae. Pectinate antennae. Pectinate antennae. Pectinate antennae. So, for pectinate antennae is where you find that the segments are modified. They are modified to form long processes like the hands of a comb. The hands of a comb. So ladies tend to have a certain type of comb that they use to organize their hair. So these antennae also tend to have such a shape, and we call that pectinate antennae. So throughout the video we've discussed the various types of antennae. We've seen the gross morphology of antennae and the various examples of the different types of antennae that occur in different insects. Till next time.